Check New York Bozo! New York Bozo! New York Bozo!
I got to get my biceps a little bigger.
Yeah, you can always work on that.
Or I could sure use a hot dog with chili.
You know what time the game starts? Hey, you got any left-handed footballs? We need to fire him. Is anybody else tired or is it just me? Good thing I'm in shape. You got any eligibility left? I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
What's up, Packers fans? Welcome to another edition of Pack to the Future. After 45 minutes of acting unprofessionally, we're finally ready to record and make an episode for you. I'm your host, Brian Fonfera. With me, as always, we've got Dusty Evely. How you doing, Dusty?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm excited to be here. We're always professional, man, so I don't know. You must be talking about some other podcasters.
Mostly Jordan,
Okay,
which is my segue.
Okay.
Jordan, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I turn on the professionalism for the actual podcast. So
Yeah, I'm just dying to see some professionalism out of you for once. That'd be fantastic.
this is when it starts.
Fellas, this is our last preseason podcast before the real games start.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm so excited.
How's that feel?
Feels great.
I'm pumped. Well, a lot of things have happened since our last show. Jordy Nelson is back off the PUP list, so might see a little bit of him in the next couple weeks. He's at least practicing as of this week. Saw him in pads again. Lindsley going to the PUP list, the physically unable to perform, for those who are taking notes at home. Got this stupid Al Jazeera steroid report to talk about later. And guys, a little unknown fact about Jeff Janis. I always assumed that his bones were made out of adamantium, which, for people who aren't as nerdy as I am, that is what Wolverine from the X-Men bones are made out of, and, really super high-end steel. But apparently, Jeff Janis's bones can break.
Listen, fellas, I've got a theory about this. I didn't want to tell you this before because I don't want to ruin the surprise or anything, but I was watching this documentary the other week. I believe it was called Furious 7, and in it, this large fella, The Rock, I believe his name is The Rock, is an FBI agent, and he has broken his arm, and when times get tough, when they need him, he literally flexes out of his cast. So I assume, like week one, it's going to get late. Jags may be hanging with the Packers a little bit. Midway through the fourth quarter, Janis on the sideline just flexes out of his cast, and the crowd just goes nuts. And then
I'm into that.
And then 100 yards from there.
Yeah, well, let's get the NFL writers on it.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Fast and Furious 6 where Vin Diesel got shot in the shoulder, and he basically just pulled it out and put on a Band-Aid and then got into some fist fight with somebody.
I think it's probably accurate. Yeah.
So that's that sounds like a pretty accurate movie, documentary type.
It's a realistic series. They really capture life on the streets in cars very accurately.
Right.
It sounds a little tame for Fast and the Furious, but I'll take your word for it. I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, and I mean, I watch those movies, and the way those actors feel,
right?
Films, documentaries. It's how I usually feel driving around the streets of Denver in my Nissan Versa. So
we've all been there.
Yeah,
that's where Vin Diesel started.
Me and my 01 Chevy Prism, man. You just see the kind of stuff we get into.
Man, my straight 4-cylinder hatchback Nissan Versa. Yeah, man, I cruise in that bad boy. All right. On that note, let's talk some football, fellas, shall we?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Our favorite new segment, we're going to get to the coin toss now. For those who didn't listen last week, first of all, shame on you. Maybe we have some people who had never heard of us until this week, so in that case, welcome. All right. So with the coin toss, we were sick of agreeing with each other all the time, so what we do is we pick 3 topics to debate on. We flip a coin to determine who defends which side of the topic. So now we are guaranteed to have some serious debate, and if we were all in the same location, there'd be fistfights, but we're in Colorado, Kentucky, and Virginia, so none of that. We're going to start. I'm going to debate Jordan first about this stupid Al Jazeera report and whether or not we should be worried about possible suspensions for Clay Matthews and Julius Peppers. So, Jordan, I'm going to flip a coin. If it's heads, you are worried. If it's tails, you are not worried.
All right.
It is heads. You are worried.
I'm so worried.
Why are you worried? You have 1 minute to tell me why.
I'll tell you exactly why I'm worried. Because the first 4 weeks of the season, the NFL is going to be without its arguably its face, its most recognizable quarterback, perhaps, in Tom Brady. And Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games because he more likely than not, or more probable than not, was involved in a plan to deflate footballs before an AFC Championship game. There was never any proof of this. To say more likely than not and actually convict the man of this quote-unquote crime, I think should cause very much worry for Clay Matthews and Julius Peppers. Those guys are not bigger superstars than Tom Brady. So if the NFL wants to flex its muscles, they certainly can in this case. So I think there's plenty of concern for Packer fans. I think there's a very good chance that this suspension actually goes through with Clay and Julius. I think there's a decent chance that they're not playing week 1, at least week 1. Hopefully not anything more than that.
All right, I'm going to tell you why not to worry.
Please.
It's a completely unsubstantiated report. It has since been rescinded, I believe, even, and I think Roger Goodell is pushing it already, just making them meet. I think that already went over the line. I think if he comes out and sets this precedent that players can be suspended over reports that are unsubstantiated, he knows he's going to have a revolt on his hands, and I think players will start to, this trend of players retiring young, I think that would escalate. I think you'd have players holding out for more guarantees because they don't know when they're going to miss 4 games just because somebody opened their mouth and claimed that they have some information that they didn't really have. I don't think, even for Roger Goodell, who hits a new low every week and gives us all more reasons to hate him, I don't think he can stoop quite this low. So no, I'm not worried.
I certainly hope you're right.
Yeah, we'll find out. Dusty, who wins?
I'm gonna go with Brian. I think Brian won.
Ooh, suck it. Yeah.
I don't have many reasons other than the fact that I agree with him more, but that's about it.
Well,
that's a pretty decent reason.
Yeah,
that's
you
fine with me.
You lost the coin flip, Jordan, but I don't like the things you said.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like the things I said either, to be fair.
It's the beauty of the coin toss.
That's right.
All right. Our next one, Dusty versus Jordan, and we're going to talk about the center position. J.C. Treader has been given the job with Corey Linsley on the PUP list, but McCarthy came out and said J.C. Treader has earned it. So the question is that fair? It was Linsley's job before the injury. There's that old saying that you can't lose your job due to injury, but apparently that's not true. So is it fair? Is this correct, or should Linsley have it? Dusty, heads, you defend Treader. Tails, you defend Linsley. And it is tails. So Dusty, you have a minute to defend Linsley. Go.
I mean, I don't care about what's fair or not. It's sports. You're not supposed to lose your job to a guy because of injury, but it happens just all the time. There are lots of different things, and when people don't lose their job because of it, a lot of times it looks unfavorably on the coach that he pulled the guy who looked good. In this case, I'm going to side with Linsley because the coin told me I had to, but also because he looks so good when he was healthy that when he comes back, I believe he has it, and it's partially because Linsley looked good at the center, and partially because Treader can kind of be plugged anywhere. He struggled a little bit when he got plugged in at the tackle position last year. But he kind of held his own after a little while, as good as a backup could, better than expected, I thought. So it's more the fact that Treader can kind of play anywhere on the line. I don't want to see him locked into the center position when he can work as someone who can move anywhere along the line, especially when Lindsley has played so well. I'm fine with Treader at the center position. I don't want to say just shackle him to that position when he's so good everywhere.
All right. Jordan. Treader.
Well, I'll definitely agree. The versatility is what Treader has going for him. But I mean, when Corey Lindsley came in as a rookie, J.C. Treader was the assumed starter going into that season, and J.C. Treader got hurt, and Lindsley came in, and there was all that concern a couple years ago. I mean, that was probably the biggest talking point before that game against Seattle to start the season was how is Lindsley going to do, starting against the Legion of Boom. And you didn't hear anything more about him. I mean, the guy played great, and now he's been our starting center the past couple years. So, with this, though, I mean, Lindsley played well. Treader came back healthy, and Lindsley didn't lose his job. So, I mean, if Treader plays the center position, and he plays it at a high level, I mean, even if Lindsley comes back healthy, I don't see McCarthy saying, hey, listen, Treader, you're coming off, and Lindsley's going to plug back in. I mean, there's a special relationship between the quarterback and his center, and if it's going great for Rodgers and Treader, the first, 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season, he's not going to mess that up, even when Lindsley comes back, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I'm going to declare Jordan the winner for pretty much the same reason Dusty declared me the winner.
That's fair. I'll take it. I'll take my lumps.
Yeah, I've never been huge on that whole idea of not benching somebody because they got injured. If somebody comes in and plays better, that's just the way it's got to be. I mean, otherwise Don Majkowski would probably still be our starting quarterback.
And he would have been awesome.
The Magic Man.
How dare you?
He might have won us 3 Super Bowls. I mean, we don't know.
That's true. We don't know.
We don't know.
It's a good point, Jordan.
It is a good point. All right, I'm gonna dock myself. I'm gonna dock myself of that first win because Jordan just took me to school right there. All right, our third and final coin toss, me against Dusty, and we're gonna talk punters. This is going to be a little bit of a bleak subject, but we each have to defend one of these guys.
We can all agree the most important position on the football field.
Of course,
without a doubt. Yeah,
this is a big deal.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement here. All right, so we've got a rookie, Peter Mortel, and we've got the veteran, the ginger, the punters are people too, Tim Mastay. Oh boy, I hope you listeners are sitting down right now, because this is about to get heated up in here, okay? All right, Dusty, I'm going to flip it for you again. Heads is Tim Mastay, tails is Peter Mortel. And you got heads. You get to defend the ginger Tim Mastay.
Sweet. I'll take it.
All right, go for it, buddy. You got a minute.
All right, man. First of all, Mastay went to UK. I went to UK. So, I mean, that should be end of debate right there.
Case closed.
Yeah, that's right.
Dusty wins.
Yes, I knew it. So, yeah, I mean, that's no secret that I went to UK. I talk about Randall Cobb all the time. Like, we're best friends because we would be if he would ever just return my calls. So, Mastay has been, like, relatively terrible. I don't have a lot of the numbers in front of me, but I know he's ranked near the bottom of the league as far as net punting average for the past, I think, 2 or 3 seasons now. So I looked up Peter Mortel's college stats. I could not find net punting on relatively short notice, and so I just looked up. He's got total just average, not net, just gross punting. Last year at Minnesota in college, where they played, I don't know, the School for the Blind or whoever the devil it is they play, he averaged 43.4 yards per punt. I'm going to guess the net was like 25 because he kicks just line drives, just buzzing people's heads. Mastay was 43.9 in Green Bay last year. So 0.5 higher in the NFL on a bad year. With decent hang time. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Mastay's hang time is not terrible. he may kick them 35 yards, but I mean, they're going to go high, man. They're going to go real high. And Mortel, I know, has looked inconsistent in practice. He's looked good to terrible in games. Even if he's kicking them long, he's kicking them line drives. So, especially if Janis is not going to be playing at least the first part of the year, maybe with that broken arm, unless he flexes out of that cast. The coverage team will, safe to say, is going to take a hit from last year. So if we've got someone kicking line drives, man, we've been through the Frost and Capanos years, like a BJ Sanders. Like, I don't want to do it again, man. I don't care if you kick it 40 yards, just kick it high. Mortel has not shown he can do that, so I'm siding with the Ginger.
All right. Okay, so to counter your first point, yeah, Mastay went to the same college. Peter Mortel went to University of Minnesota. I have been to the state of Minnesota several times, including the Mall of America.
Oof.
And I went to the Rainforest Cafe, and I had that big chocolate volcano dessert. I remember holding a snake there. Like, I've done it all, man. Like, just so...
I take it back. Brian wins.
Okay,
Yeah, your first point is invalid. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go the youth angle here. We know what we have with Tim Mastay, and it's not very good. With Mortel, I mean, you might as well take a chance, right? I know it can get worse, but the likelihood of it truly getting worse, probably not too great. We know he has a strong leg. I've seen a lot of line drives. I've also seen a couple really good punts. So if he can start to do that a little bit more consistently as time goes on, yeah, which I think he's capable of. And again, younger and cheaper, save us a little bit of money that, Ted loves to do so much. So I guess my main point is I've been to Minnesota, and why not?
Mastay's wife is a nice lady.
Peter Mortel grew up in Green Bay.
I don't care about that. Didn't Colin Kaepernick, or he grew up cheering for the Packers? He didn't grow up in Green Bay, did he?
He was like born in Milwaukee, I think.
Yeah, and screw that guy. So, don't bring Mortel up like that.
Okay, well, you're from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right,
Well,
Jordan, who wins?
Originally from Michigan, but whatever, man.
Oh, that's worse. Jordan, who wins?
This is a tough one. I think I'm gonna go with Dusty on this one. The hang time argument for me personally is one I care more about hang time than distance. If you can limit the guy from actually returning a punt for a big play on us, so like he said, you'd rather have a 35-yard fair catch than a 60-yard punt get returned down to you're inside the 10-yard line. I mean, I take that every day too. So, I mean, for now, it's not a great position. You'd like to see Peter Mortel just come into camp and just start dominating, but he hasn't not done that. So I think you go. I think you stick with Mastay for now, unless Mortel shows us something over the next 2 weeks. I think you go with the experience.
All those trips I took to Minnesota just for nothing.
Yeah.
They were all in preparation for this episode.
Even if you would have won this, that still would have been true.
I went to Minneapolis once. It seemed fine. There was a really good
right.
restaurant there I went to. That was good.
That's true. There's no other good restaurants anywhere else.
Probably not.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I have stories I could share about Minnesota, but maybe that'll just be a totally different podcast or something.
We'll save it for week 2.
Bye week.
Yeah, there we go.
Bye week.
Yeah.
Brian tells stories.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Before we do move on, a little word about our sponsor. As you know, Pack to the Future is brought to you by Pride and Glory Clothing. Check out our Twitter account if you haven't. By the way, we're giving away one of their shirts. All you have to do is follow our account at PTTF_podcast and retweet the tweet. It's pinned all the way up at the top, so that's all you have to do, and you could win a shirt. And I'm going to let Jordan tell us more about Pride and Glory Clothing.
Yes, Pride and Glory Clothing. This is prideandglory63.com. Packer fans, I mean, a lot of people are like, listen, if I want to sport some apparel for my team, I'm going to go the jersey route. It's tough to find a jersey cheaper than $100 out there. You go to Pride and Glory, you can get some really good Packer gear. No more than $35 for the sweatshirts. We got t-shirts as cheap as $20. Some really good Packers gear. I mention it, I think, every time I plug it, but I own the sweep diagram t-shirts. It's got the old Lombardi sweep right on the shirt. It's a fantastic looking shirt. Gets comments every time I see other Packer fans where I'm at. He's got some new stuff coming on. He's got a new shirt that says the left guard on it. In honor of his grandfather, Fuzzy Thurston. So be sure to check this stuff out. He's got some new stuff coming out this fall, so keep an eye out. This is prideandglory63.com.
All right, well done. Okay, the only other order of business we have today, on our show a couple weeks ago, we did our predictions for the NFC North. We all came up with Packers, because we all wear green and gold glasses, so why not? Today, what we're going to do is our Super Bowl predictions. We don't need to go all the way through the playoffs or anything. We're just going to say AFC representative, NFC representative, and who you've got winning it. So, Jordan, why don't you kick us off on this?
Oh boy. This is tough. You got every team at 0-0. I think with the NFC, you have 4 teams that have that real legitimate shot. Obviously, you have the Carolina Panthers. Super Bowl last year. Cam Newton's still. Cam Newton's not getting any worse. In fact, he's probably going to be better this next season. So you have that. He's getting back Kelvin Benjamin. That defense is still very stout. So the Panthers are obviously still in it. Cardinals, I think, their defense as well, very primed. Seattle, same reasons. Seasoned quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Carson Palmer with those 2 teams. I think those 3 teams in particular, you got to throw the Packers in the mix too. When you have number 12 throwing the ball around, especially coming off the season that he had last year, which, most football fans and definitely most Packer fans would say was very underwhelming. I anticipate him, definitely improving. We got Jordy coming back. We got some guys coming back. So out of those 4 with the NFC, this is tough. I think it's very tough to get back to the Super Bowl, so I'm leaving Carolina out. I'm a big fan of Arizona getting there. It comes down again to Carson Palmer's health, and he stayed healthy last year too. But they ran into the Panthers in the playoffs, which I don't think any team in the NFC was beating them. So I think Bruce Arians going to keep them consistent. That defense is going to keep them in every single game. Palmer's going to win them the games. I think they're the most dangerous team in the NFC. So I got the Cardinals going to the Super Bowl, and a team I think they if again it and with all these teams it comes down to health. But if Le'Veon Bell, Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown can stay healthy, that offense is absolutely insane. Those guys. We talk about the Packers at full strength, putting up a great offense, and we certainly do. But with these guys, if they're all able to stay healthy, that offense is beyond scary. So I actually like the Steelers getting to the Super Bowl. So Steelers-Cardinals rematch, and I like the Cardinals to get revenge on them from a few years ago. So I'm picking the Cardinals over the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
I like that. All right, Cardinals over Steelers. I'm going to remember that. I agree with pretty much everything you said. 4 teams really alive in it for the NFC. I see a little bit of a step back for the Panthers, just that classic losing a Super Bowl hangover that happens to so many teams. They also overperformed last year. They were a great team, very good defense, and an offense that shouldn't have been that good, considering when you look at their lineup and see what receivers they had, they should not have been that good. But just a bit of a hangover, a bit of a we figured you out a little bit. So, I still see them as a playoff team. I still see them as a contender, but not a 15-1 just mowing everybody down team. Having said that, the team that I really thought they would make it last year, I'm going to agree with the Cardinals going to the Super Bowl. And that they really should have. They just choked. Credit to the Panthers for outplaying them, but they choked in that playoff game and just looked terrible. And the only thing that upset me more than them choking was all the Packers fans saying, "Oh, we would have done better against the Cardinals or against the Panthers." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what proof do you have of that?" Oh, man, that just drove me nuts, and I don't think I've gotten a chance to vent about that until now. Crazy good speed and just overall play on offense for the Cardinals, and a defense that's going to swarm to a quarterback. They're going to get Tyrann Mathieu back from injury.
Yeah.
they're going to be good, and I see them getting all the way. And then let me tell you, as Jordan mentioned before with Tom Brady being suspended, the very, very moment I found out that was going through and he was getting suspended, the first thing that popped into my head was the Patriots are winning the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, when he is pissed off, is unstoppable. And as soon as his finger heals from his scissors boo-boo, he's going to come back with a vengeance. I think they're going to tread water while he's out, 2-2, 3-1, probably something like that. And I think they're just going to go on a tear, and he's going to have 4 games less of just season wearing on his body by the end of it. He's going to be ready to go come playoff time. I think he's just going to put a tear through the AFC playoffs, and his division is weak. The AFC overall only has a couple teams that can really do it. I don't think Tom Brady is going to be denied on this one.
Yeah, it really is remarkable with the Patriots for as long as Brady's been their quarterback that they have just not had any competition in that division. I mean, I can't even think, besides the year that Brady was injured for the whole season, there's never been a year where like, oh yeah, I mean, I like the Jets better than them. I like the Bills. I like the Dolphins.
Well, the past few years, it's like been the Dolphins kind of hanging there, where it's been kind of they're starting to put it all together, and then it just has not happened.
Right, but I mean, like this season, nobody is legitimately picking the Dolphins to win, the division. Whereas every other team that does well, I mean, I think there are people that are making a case even for like the Buccaneers coming out of nowhere and taking the NFC South. I mean, nobody's doing that for the AFC East. Like everybody's saying Patriots, no question. Like you could start Garoppolo all 16 games. I think people are still saying Patriots are winning the division. Right. That's how it's always seems to be with them.
Yeah.
All right, Dusty, who do you got?
All right, so I mean, I kind of go along with you guys. I see the Panthers dropping off. I mean, part of that is say projected schedule. Last year, I think they played somewhere in the mid-20s, kind of their opponent, according to Football Outsiders. So like not great teams basically. So they went 15-1. I mean, you can go against the worst schedule in the league or the easiest schedule in the league, go 15-1, and that's very, very impressive. 15-1 in Super Bowl. Panthers, I mean, like you said, the Bucks could step up. Panthers this year are facing the 12th ranked average. Well, they're according to Football Outsiders projections, 12th hardest in the league. So that's a pretty big step up from mid-20s. So I think they're going to flounder a bit. They're going to hurt. I mean, they'll still probably make the playoffs. Like you said, Benjamin's back. Benjamin's back, but he's got like 1 year, right? He played one full season before tearing his knee. That he was good, but like I think he dropped a lot of balls. I need to look at his stats, but he doesn't strike me as like a game changer for them. Like he's better than Ted Ginn, but like I'm better than Ted Ginn, so like it doesn't really matter too much. They're gonna take a step back. They'll still probably make the playoffs, but they won a lot of one-score games. I can't remember where Newton ranked, but he was not in the top 5 quarterbacks last year, even with as good as he looked. He still struggled. His running stats pumped him up a bit, but he got a little more accurate, but not overly so. So Panthers are going to take a step back. I agree with pretty much the rest of what you guys said. The Patriots, like you said, it's hard to pick against them, but I don't know. I don't see them. I see them going like a championship game and losing, and so I think my pick. I think I'm going to take Packers Steelers. I'm going to do a rematch of 45. Like Jordan said, that Steelers offense is just ridiculous. If Roethlisberger can stay anywhere close to healthy, which even if he doesn't, he's basically like McNair used to be. He'd get injured something every week. He wouldn't practice, then he'd come out and he's just bigger than everyone. It's just like the big kid playing elementary school, like Pop Warner football. That just like no one can hit it, and then you can't touch quarterbacks anymore, so it's hard to bring them down. So I think that offense provided. That's the thing. You could have 1 or 2 receivers go down, and still that offense is ridiculous. So I see them making it to the Super Bowl. As far as NFC, like I said, Panthers probably taking a step back. Cards, I mean, you guys kind of touched on it. If Palmer's healthy, this team is really, really, really hard to stop. But, like he's not going to stay healthy. He's old. He's never really moved well. He's going to get hit. The defense is good, but and Arians is a great coach. I just don't see that it's going to happen. So I'm going Packers Steelers, and I'm going Packers over Steelers.
Packers, I like that. That'd be fun.
It would be. It would be. I mean, anytime, if the Packers win, I'll be very excited. I was very tempted to pick the Bengals, and then, I just thought about Marvin Lewis's big dumb face, and, I just couldn't.
And you also remembered who their quarterback is?
Yeah, but what the thing is, he played better when he was healthy last year. I don't know if that's an illusion, and he lost a lot of his receivers. A.J. Green won't stay healthy, and they lost Sanu and Jones to free agency. So
and to be fair, Andy Dalton is not why they lost their playoff game.
Yeah,
they lost their playoff.
True.
I mean, they should have won that game.
Montez perfect.
Well,
exactly. I mean, that was anything, and it was anything but Dalton really.
Yeah,
that game.
Well, wait, I might be mistaken. Did McCarron not play that game? Dalton was out with that broken thumb, right? I think McCarron played that game, and they still almost won, right?
I think you might be right.
Yeah,
man.
friggin' A.J. McCarron. That's preposterous. That dude's face is like a dish plate. He's...
I already forgot about A.J. McCarron.
Yeah. and Dalton,
was that
legit looked like a top 10 quarterback before he got injured last year. Now, again, that could be a mirage, and that could be... And he lost two of his big receivers. Now, if Eifert could not be made of glass... he's great, and A.J. Green is one of the best receivers in the league, but they're both injury prone, and they lost Sanu and Jones. It's going to be tough. And again, just Marvin Lewis. I don't believe in it. A.J. I'm not an Andy Dalton fan, but he looked legitimately good. I was shocked before he went down last year. He looked really, really good. But
I'm a lot more of an Andy Dalton fan than a Marvin Lewis fan. I thought he should have been fired 7 years ago.
He should have been. He should have been.
It is remarkable how he's held on to that job. It really is.
It really is. I'm sad on my end to not be able to pick Brock Osweiler to win a Super Bowl yet, but I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna give him a year to acclimate. He's got young receivers. His number 2 receiver is a rookie, so a year for him to acclimate to the weather and the team and all that, and next year I'll make my early pick next year.
He's some ungodly mix of friggin' Edward from Twilight and Herman Munster. He's just this big lumbering man. Was he 6'7"? He's not gonna have any knees left by next season. There's no way he's going 16 games and having any knees left. I'm very excited to hear yourself talk yourself into him for next year.
You watch how you talk about Brock Osweiler.
I'm very excited.
Dusty, I think you've had that comparison in the bag for a while. You've just been
the Herman Munster one just came to me. I credit this delicious W.L. Weller's bourbon. Thank you, bourbon.
Oh man! All right, so we're gonna start a new segment, by the way, for the 2016 season. Before anything else, the new segment is "What is Dusty drinking today?" So that'll be the first thing we cover every week from now on.
Man, now I know how I'm gonna spend my sponsorship money. Now I got to get creative.
There you go. It's got to be a new bourbon every week.
All right, I think I can do it. I believe that I can do it.
You might need to ask for a raise at work.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
And check yourself into Alcoholics Anonymous in February.
As long as they have good internet, I could do it before then.
They might.
Yeah,
they might.
They got some good facilities.
I don't know. I'll Google that.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
I'll get back to you. All right. All right. Well, if you guys have any final thoughts, give them now along with your Twitter handle, and we will sign off. Jordan, any final thoughts?
My final thoughts is these last 2 preseason games. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers not take any snaps. I get the whole trying to get in rhythm, but I don't think I just don't think it's worth the risk. So I'd love to see Aaron stay on the bench the next couple weeks. That's really all I'd love to see out of the next 2 weeks. That's what I'm looking for.
All right. And where do they find you on Twitter?
You guys can find me on Twitter at JGPeck41.
And you know what? My final thought is similar, disagreeing a little bit. I don't really want to see Jordy Nelson or Aaron Rodgers playing in the preseason, but Nelson has to get his legs under him a little bit, shake off a little bit of the rust, and I think they need to get on the same page. So like a drive or two in each of the next 2 games maybe, but nothing more than that. So we're mostly in agreement there.
Oh.
And you can find me at TTSO_Brian. And don't forget to follow our show as well at PTTF_podcast. Follow it, retweet that tweet at the top, and you're entered to win a t-shirt. So, all right, Dusty.
I'm just going to do a hodgepodge of non-football thoughts. Well, maybe one football thought, if that's cool.
I'll make it a hodgepodge.
Man, fall's coming up. It's my favorite time of year. Aside from football, we've got playoff baseball. My Tigers probably will not be there. They've fallen off a bit, but great time of year. The pumpkin beer is hitting the shelves.
Ooh, baby.
Man, Stranger Things is amazing for this time of year. If you haven't watched that yet, there's a new Blair Witch movie coming out. I'm going to a horror convention in Indianapolis, and
Nice.
just kind of decided yesterday, I think me and brothers and one of our friends are heading down to Tennessee for the Packers game in November. So I'm very, very excited about that. We're scouting out tickets right now. About a 3.5 hour drive from here. So we're hyped about that, man. I've
Score.
a lot of reasons to be excited right now. I was like 61 when I left the house today. I'm very, very, very excited. So
Awesome.
and I'm just at Dusty Evely on Twitter.
I asked my wife earlier this week if it's too early for me to be excited about Thanksgiving and Christmas, and she assured me that it's okay. I'm like a little kid, man. Like I haven't changed a bit. Like I wake up early on Christmas morning and run out and stare at the tree. So
My dad calls me. We had to make him like postpone it a little bit because he, honest to God, calls the family every Christmas, every single family member, at like it used to be 5:30 and now it's like 6:30, and it's always the same thing. It's always guys, Santa's been here. He's here. Like, all right, Dad, that's fine. You gotta get down here. He's been here. You gotta see it. Like, Dad, it's 6 in the morning, man. So, Brian, that's gonna be you as like a 65-year-old man.
yeah,
I just want to let you know
without question.
that's your future.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
So
It's a good.
For this Christmas, I got word that my brother-in-law is flying in, so I'm pumped about that.
Nice.
And the kicker, though, is he's flying in on Christmas Day.
Oof.
So I get to drive to the airport on Christmas.
That's the day to do it, though.
Yeah,
The airport is not that busy on Christmas Day.
Yeah. I guess so.
That's why.
All right.
That's, you know,
Excitement died. The little boy
Yeah,
part of him just died right there.
I'm just getting you pumped up for your Christmas Day ride into the airport. It's not going to be as bad as you think.
It just means I'm gonna have to wake up like an hour earlier to enjoy all the excitement that I should, and just drink like ridiculous amounts of eggnog. Yeah, I'm still pumped.
You can do it. Yeah, that
right.
sounds good.
All right, couple other shout outs. Please leave us some reviews on iTunes. We have the link in the description down below. Leave us some reviews. Tell us how much you love us. If you don't love us, disregard what I just said, because we don't want your comments until you do love us. All right, and other shout outs. Make sure you're listening to the other shows on our website here. We've got the Titletown Sound Off podcast, some good guys over there, and new to TitletownSoundoff.com is Tundra Talk. They just joined us last week. They just released their second episode earlier this week, so go check them out. They're a ton of fun. That's all we've got. Thanks for listening. We are super pumped to be back in a couple weeks talking regular season football again. Man, it's going to be awesome. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.